Waiters of Reddit, what is the strangest thing someone has ordered? I worked in Applebee's in high school, and although not very strange, I had a table where after I delivered the food I did the everything all good checkup and noticed a woman was staring at her plate like it was about to jump off the table. I asked her what was wrong and she told me the plate color was just too off and that she needed an orange plate. I went back and got a different color plate and you could see the instant relief on her face when the food moved plates. I guess she really had something against green plates. It could have been synesthesia, and she didn't want the green interfering with the taste. More likely she was just odd. I remember when I was waiting tables many years ago, these two guys came in and ordered the entire breakfast menu, multiple orders of several things. They spent most of the morning, from about 8:30 am to about 12 noon, at the restaurant eating it all. It was something like a large order of pancakes each. Those things were huge too, about 3/4 very big pancakes, with eggs, several of them cooked several ways, and omelette and bacon and mushrooms and waffles, also huge, and sausages and French toast and regular toast and home fries and a few other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. I remember thinking that they must have been ordering for a much larger party that just hadn't shown up yet, but no, just these two guys. They also consumed several pots of coffee between them. They weren't even huge guys. I'd say they were pretty big, stocky, maybe a bit chunky, but not obese. I have no idea how just the two of them ate that much food. I kept an eye on their table too while I gave them their menu refills. They weren't taking leftovers for later either, just eating all of it as if they had never seen food. I seem to recall their bill was a fair bit more than my paycheck. I was just baffled by the whole thing and wondering how they were not totally sick from all of that grease. Several possibilities. Fresh out of jail Uganda. Bodybuilders on a cheat day. Baked. I worked at IHOP. Took a table's order and get to the wife. She ordered a meal and I asked her how she liked her eggs. She replies, unfertilized. Having heard this joke from drunken men before, I brushed it off and chuckled, but she was serious. She said, you know when you crack the egg, and you see that little white bit stuck to the yolk? That's the sperm, and I don't want it in my eggs. Still dead serious. I glance at the husband looking for answers and he just shrugs his shoulders and makes an I'm not getting involved sort of face. I was never a waiter, but I worked the drive-thru at Jack in the Box while in high school. Drunks were fairly common on the weekends. Many of them, in their drunken stupor, would confuse our monster tacos with hot dogs and would order hot dogs. One time someone got all pissy with me because he wanted a hot dog. So, we made him a hot dog and gave it to him. 3 bites into his taco, he said, was that so freaking hard? I walked away from the window to clean some dishes. A few minutes later, I happened to look in the direction of the drive-thru. I could not see the window, but above the window was a timer that would go from green numbers, okay, to yellow, need to speed things up, to red, the customer has been there too long. I saw the numbers flashing red because they were at 13 minutes. I did not hear any cars come through on my headset, so I was confused. I walked up to the window, and the guy who gave me crap about the hot dogs was there, passed the frick out in his car. So we called the cops. They showed up. One cop came into the restaurant so he could talk to the guy. He parked too close to the window for the cop, a portly fellow, to get to his driver's window. When the cop tapped the guy, while hanging out of the drive-thru window, the guy woke up and started screaming at the cop because all of the meat in his hot dog was mush. Again, it was a taco, and anyone who has had a jib taco will understand. It basically is meat flavored mush. He was livid and threw the second hot dog at the cop. It then dawned on him that this man was a cop. He was drunk and was also driving. I crap you not. He then climbed into the passenger seat and started asking where the driver went, as the car started rolling forward into a bush. He was adamant that he was never driving. This is the crap stand-up comics tell about, and I got to live it for an hour of my life in 2002. Stories like this are the reason I use Reddit. Isn't strange, but anytime they ask for a hot plate, I get crap on cause the chefs will always go, oh they want a hot plate do they now, and I'm always the sucker that has to take out the plate that's being cooked in the depths of mortar. Hahaha. I used to work for IHOP and there was a group of old ladies that used to come in from time to time. They always sent their omelets back unless they were too hot to touch. After they came out of the kitchen I would put them into the microwave for a full minute. That crap was so hot I had to have a napkin barrier to touch the plate. They seem to like it, though, so whatever works. Also not a waiter, but I was picking up my normal pizza when a woman came in and ordered a white pie. That is, no sauce, with no cheese and garlic. So, the guy behind the counter says, "Round garlic bread?" "Yes." There's apparently a Tumblr post about a pizza with no sauce, no cheese, and beef on the left half. It's a sad piece of bread with meat sprinkles is what it is. 3 people have ordered it at the Domino's I work at. They think they're freaking hilarious. I make them give me their money before I make it, and there are no refunds. Well, not weird, but a man ordered a crab tilapia but he pronounced it crab talabia. I died. His wife was mortified. We had a menu item steak tidbits and a man came in with his wife and ordered the tender bits and then yelled at me when his appetizers came before his meal. I haven't waited tables in nearly 10 years, but the weirdest order I got was from a guy who wanted a steak so well done that no juice would come out of it. Took like a half hour to grill it up that way and, surprise surprise, it was really bad. It looked like I was giving him the sole of a shoe. That's probably the most fricked up thing in this thread. The others are weird, but there is simply no reason to do that. Not me but another server I was working with at the time. 2 women ordered a bloomin' onion. After it was delivered he went over to see how everything was. The lady asked for a cup of the sauce at the bottom of the plate. "Mom, that is actually fryer grease, not a sauce." She looked at him and said, "I don't care what it is, just get me a cup of it." He went to the back, ladled out a soup cup of fryer grease, and brought it out. The woman seasoned the grease with salt and pepper and went to town. That was probably the most disgusting thing I ever saw working as a server. As if bloomin' onions aren't already more calories than you should consume in a day. I work in a fancy restaurant, so I don't get a lot of super weird. But what's annoying and weird to me is coming to a restaurant that's around $50 person and ordering water with lots of lemons and some sugar packets and then attempting to make your own lemonade there at the table to save $2. Either just drink water or just order a drink. Ugh, my husband's granddad does this and I hate it. Just order a freaking lemonade, Marv. Not exactly, but I used to work food service in an Indian takeaway. The number of people who'd call up and seem to just order whatever the heck they wanted as if they'd never even looked at the menu. UHH, can I get a bag of chips? Chips equals fries. Sorry, so we don't have chips here, we serve Indian food. Oh right, so, like, what's the Indian version of chips? Poppadoms. One guy called and tried to order a pizza. I assumed he had gotten the wrong number and told him we were an Indian food place. He was like, "Yeah, that's cool. Just throw some Indian stuff on a pizza, that'll do." "No sir, it won't." Reading the last part, the image of a garlic naan with a light topping of masala sauce and paneer cheese comes to mind. Maybe some shredded tandoori chicken too. Excuse me, I'm off to the international supermarket. Could be amazing. Could be a disaster. Kid would come in with his mom once a week and order a no meat cheeseburger. The first time was weird, so we brought him a bun with cheese and lettuce, tomato, mayo and onion. He sent it back, saying he didn't want any of the other stuff on it, just the cheese and the bun. He wouldn't call it a grilled cheese for some reason. So the next week he comes in and gets a different server. I happened to be next to the pose when she put the order in, so the kid was spared another round of burger toppings on his grilled cheese. But man, that boy was different. Not an order, but I got written up once because a lady wanted a box for 3 fries and I thought she was joking. She wasn't. Please tell me they were at least steak fries. I'm the customer in this story. One time at an Indian restaurant, I ordered a bowl of mushroom soup as a side dish to my main meal. The waiter looked very confused and said, "Are you sure?" I replied that was sure that I wanted mushroom soup. He said, "I don't know if we can do that. Let me find out." He rushed off to the kitchen, and then he came back with a relieved look on his face and told me that they had what I wanted. I was very confused as to why the mushroom soup that they had on their menu was such a difficult thing to produce. A few minutes later, he proudly presented me with a small bowl of mustard seeds. He must have misheard me and thought that I wanted whole mustard seeds as a side. I couldn't bear to correct him, so I just poured the seeds onto my meal and thanked him. I don't know what to say. I worked at a pizza place and this man calls us all angry saying that he wants a quadruple triple. Our restaurant was next to Tim Hortons, so I thought he called the wrong place to order a 4 cream, 3 sugars coffee, even though you can't call Timmy's to order. After clearing what he meant, we found out that he wanted a medium pizza with the works, but 4x the works including sauce and cheese, so 4x sauce, cheese, pepperoni, bacon, salami, ground beef, peppers, mushrooms and onions on one pizza, and he wanted it delivered. We told him that it would be quite pricey as we would have to add on the extra ingredients individually. When I placed the order with the kitchen, they didn't believe me and called the guy again to make sure this is what he wanted. It was. We had to put it in the oven with only half of the ingredients first to make sure it cooked and then put the other half and cook it again. He then called us super angrily after it was delivered because the pizza cost him like $50. Not me, but a friend of mine said that a customer once wanted to order a steak that was medium rare with no pink in the middle. The customer was dead serious. My parents have no clue how to order steak. This has happened multiple times. Dad, I'll have the sirloin, medium with lots of pink in the middle. Mom, I'll have the sirloin, medium with no pink in the middle. You can't both order the same cook-off steak. Neither of you actually freaking want a medium steak. Ugh. I feel like sometimes people are misinformed at bars as well. I was behind the bar and some lady was like, I want a Kettle One chilled but no ice, not too dirty, olives on the side and the kettle in a cold glass. I figured she wanted a martini and didn't know what vermouth was. So I was like, a dirty martini, light on the brine. She's like, did you hear what I said? I just made it really dry and light on the brine. She loved it. I said my way better than whatever you wanted to make. I'm like, yeah sure. I find it funny when people try to order a drink like that. It is like they are trying to sound impressive or fancy, but really just sound stupid. I worked at a small town diner place last summer. This guy came in every single day for lunch and would order a plate of 13 French fries. If there were any more or any less, he would politely send it back for us to fix it. One time, he noticed a fry that was really small and sent it back because we gave him 12.5 fries instead of 13. We would get annoyed by him, but he was a really good tipper so we dealt with it. Might be OCD. A man once ordered a bowl of tomato soup and a Bloody Mary, simultaneously. He wanted me to wait to bring out the Bloody Mary so he could have it at the same time as the soup. He alternated one sip of the drink and one slurp of the soup until both were gone. I got heartburn from reading that. I was a waitress at Red Lobster in Southern California. This older German lady would come in regularly and pick a lobster out of the tank. She would demand it gets boiled alive and whole. Do not gut it or clean it and bring it to her. She would eat the intestines and all the crap you're legally supposed to clean out of the lobster before serving it. We always accommodated her and her Pomeranian who sat at the table with her. Yeah, it's the tamale. Lots of people eat it. Then again, I'm from New England, where there are lots more lobsters. Worked in a restaurant years ago and every Friday night after the bar this guy would order spaghetti bolognese and would cover the whole thing with French's yellow mustard. I'm a chef. I spent a very long time with a colleague mastering our bolognese. Frick this guy. Not a waiter, but years ago I was in Denny's with my dad in Niagara Falls. I went to college at Niagara University. It was, of course, full of tourists. There was a Middle Eastern family that spoke only broken English at best that came in and took issue with a whole lot of the menu. After what seemed like 30 minutes of looking through the menu and haltingly trying to figure out what half the menu meant, the waiter suggested that he would have the cook prepare a vegetarian plate. To his and the chef's credit, they presented this family with a large, beautifully arranged vegetable and fruit plate. The father was so impressed, he clapped and took the waiter's hands, kissing them. Waiter had a huge smile on his face the rest of the time they were there. That's pretty freaking good customer service there, for someone that they'll probably never see again. I'm not a waiter, but during my time as a host at the wonderful establishment known as Red Lobster, a man would come in every Tuesday around 7 and order linguine alfredo. This would be totally normal, but he ordered it without noodles or shrimp. He'd happily sip away at a bowl of heavy, garlicky cream for a couple of hours while reading some Tom Clancy book before giving the waiter/waitress a large tip and leaving. I talked to him a few times, and he was as normal as could be. Cool guy. Could have major dietary issues. Good on him though, cause I wouldn't have the guts. Waiting at a Red Lobster a while back. Every Sunday afternoon a dozen or so members of the Red Hat Society would come squat at our biggest table for about 4 hours. These women were absolutely horrible. From what I understand, the RHS is about being uninhibited as you get older and not worrying about what people think of you. I think the ones in that area interpreted it as I'm old. You have to deal with my crap. I'm going to make your life heck. Tough cookers. Anyway, one of them had ill-fitting false teeth and couldn't chew literally anything. Every Sunday she'd come in and order the chicken finger meal, but she wanted it fried just enough to cook the breading, then microwaved to cook the chicken, then thrown in the steamer to make the entire meal soggy to the point of falling apart. Every Sunday she'd send it back over and over because it's too tough. It's like chewing rubber. Just make it so it's edible and we'll be fine. We were finally able to convince our manager that it was literally impossible to get it soft enough for this hag to chew, and one week he refused to remake it a third time. I've never seen such a snarling, vicious human being in my life. She screamed at every employee she could find for 20 minutes before finally being told that the police were going to remove her from the building if she wouldn't leave on her own. On behalf of my mother, I apologize. But on the bright side, it's nice they wear uniforms so you know what you are getting when they walk in the door. Worked at a decently pricey restaurant, and one time a woman ordered just plain pasta noodles for her teenage daughter. Insisted she just wanted nothing but noodles in a bowl. The chef garnished the dish with some parsley and the girl threw a fit because she hates green stuff. I had to go back and get some plain noodles. This girl was like 15. I mean, she exactly told you what she wants. I don't think you should blame her. I was a cook at the time, not a server, but since I'm the one actually making the wacky orders, I can give some of my favorites. They want fish, but not the fish special, but they like how the fish special looks, so they want you to make it look like the fish special. Request granted. They want you to cut their hamburger as sixths. They were very specific, not fourths or eighths. I inquire if they're sharing it 6 ways. Server said no, this is just for her. Granted, but cutting 1/6 is harder than 1/8. They want the grilled tilapia, but no grill marks and no char whatsoever. I then explained to the server what grilling is, and why that was impossible. Not granted. I instead braised the fish in butter and fume. One of the only compliments to the chef I've ever gotten. I hate when a customer orders something ridiculous that makes me, the server, look like an idiot telling it to the chef, lol. During the Sturgis motorcycle rally I worked at a cafe. Had a man visiting from Russia come in and order a sandwich consisting of butter and crushed potato chips. I was so confused. I thought I misunderstood him due to his thick accent, but nope. He wanted a butter potato chip sandwich. Poting chips, or crisps as us Brits call them, in a sandwich is surprisingly an actual thing and is pretty popular. I personally think it is a crime against food, but then again I've never brought myself to try it. My buddy used to order this exact thing for his hangover meal. We'd go to a diner up the road after a night of getting blasted, and to this day I find it be the weirdest thing I've seen on a food order. Open-faced 10-inch long sub roll with all the toppings of a chicken Philly cheesesteak, chopped chicken, onions, mushroom, peppers, cheese, then 3 eggs over easy, a layer of corned beef has, a layer of sausage gravy, and a shitload of ground black pepper. He would then cover that entire thing in a layer of ketchup, and eat the entire thing with fork and knife. Astonishing and disgusting all in one meal. You had me right up until the ketchup. Yummy on fries, but not so much on sandwiches. We had a dish that has a corn chip base, chicken breast with ranch sauce and cheese melted over the whole thing, and a side of Mexi rice. Someone came in with their jaw wired shut and asked me to blend the whole plate and bring him a large gauge enough straw to consume. It took several extra ounces of the ranch sauce to make it blend. He said it was the best thing he'd had to eat since the accident. Heck yeah. Not a waiter, but I used to be a car hop for Sonic. Someone once ordered a foot-long coney with extra mayo. I took the order myself, then got absolutely furious when there was mayo on it. Got me written up for 4 different reasons and I'm no longer allowed to work at Sonic. I can't be the only one who wants to know how to this one rogue order turned into 4 write-ups. 3 grilled tomatoes. 2 grilled jalapenos, oil, garlic powder, and one of the metal salad mixing bowls we have in the kitchen. Somebody wanted fresh salsa. I worked as a busboy, and I got people drinks. This lady asked for lemonade. We don't have it. She looks at her water, looks at me and says, "Well, you have lemons, and I can see sugar packets on that table. Make some." I half-assed this, squeezed like 4 or 5 slices into a glass with some water and put in 3 packets of sugar. She didn't like it, surprisingly. Then she asked for as many lemons as I could, bring her a pitcher and a bunch of sugar packets. She made the best lemonade she could. I bust the pitcher at the end of the meal and tasted some. It was not good. Frick that lady. I had to cut basically an extra entire night's worth of lemons for her because she was being a tea about needing lemonade. I hope the heck you charged her for all of those lemons. Oh boy, I've waited for this one. Was a server at Cracker Barrel in Tennessee for about 2 years. This Cracker Barrel was right off the interstate, so the majority of our customers were travelers, but we had a couple regulars. This one old lady would come in every Wednesday and Sunday at exactly 2 p.m. and would order a fried chicken salad. But for the dressing she would request 2 large bowls of piping hot white gravy and grits. She'd then proceed to mix the grits and gravy into the salad and eat the entire thing. She did always sit in my section and tip $10 cash. TLDR. Old lady at Cracker Barrel would eat salad with gravy and grits as dressing twice a week. My grandpa does a similar thing. If we have multiple food items served on the dinner plate, he mixes everything together and eats it. Horrifying. Not a waiter, but I have 2 stories that probably made the involved waiters cringe. I used to date a girl that once ordered in a restaurant a well-done steak tartare, minced raw beef. She didn't know what is tartare, only that it was meat. The funny thing is that the waiter brought to her what she ordered. Another time, I was with a friend and she ordered a banana cake and asked if it was possible to remove the banana pieces from the cake. I burst into laughter and my friend out of shame changed the order to a lemon pie, to which I said if possible remove any pieces of lemon, please. At Subway I was helping out a man who spent 5 minutes looking at our menu and said steak and cheese please. I asked him what kind of bread. He said rye, was a LTO at the time. Then I asked him if he wanted 6-inch or footling. He looked at me as if I was an alien. So I then told him what they meant. He got a foot long. As I put on the steak, he asked me how the steak was cooked. He told me he wanted medium. The steak is basically ground beef, and it comes in bags. I had no clue, so I told him and he threw a fit and he just said whatever. Up next, I asked him what cheese he wants. I told him all of our available cheeses, and when I said Swiss, he asked me if the cheese was from Switzerland. I said no, and then he said, oh well then I guess I'll have American because it's more local. What the frick? Well, from there on out it was pretty regular. However, he did complain about the price and I ended up giving him the sub for $5 because he was bitching about how he thought all footlongs were $5. That was the only bad customer I had to deal with, luckily. I'll have the American because it's more local. Beautiful. Someone once pointed to the turkey wrap and said, can I have just the turkey, lettuce and tomato? That's what I brought. Turkey, lettuce, tomato on a plate. He was confused as to why it wasn't wrapped. That's when I realized I was dumb and he wanted no bacon or mustard. I work at a pizza place that has a bar. One day a really drunk guy asked for a spaghetti and meatballs inside a calzone. My friend got super excited to make it since it was at least original. The drunk guy saw how excited he was making it and came behind the bar into the kitchen and tipped my buddy $20. He ended up taking one bite of his spaghetti calzone and leaving. That sounds bomb. Work at Cheddar's. It's a better Applebee's basically. Women ordered burger but replaced the meat with fried catfish and added extra tomatoes along with 4 pickles. She specified. Sounds kinda good actually. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we stopped into a Subway on our way home from a trip. I got a breakfast sandwich, and the girl asked if I wanted yellow or white eggs. I was really confused for a moment before saying, oh, do you mean with or without yolks? Look of incomprehension like, egg whites or eggs with yolk? She sighed. I don't know, lady, but one is yellow and one is white. Working at Subway might have been too advanced of a job for her. Probably I have been that weird customer in the eyes of the waiter cook. Anyway, I was in a Chinese restaurant and I had problems with my pronunciation. I tried to order a dish with pork, cooked served in a cast iron plate, with vegetables and a creamy sauce which consists of local herbs and spices. I ordered it as a side dish. 45 minutes later, they entered the dining room with a complete pig's leg, steamed before it was cooked into the oven. No idea what else was on that plate. Well, it didn't come on a plate, it came on a table on wheels. So, a complete pig's leg, as a side dish. I guess something was lost in translation, haha. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.